The entire grand ballroom fell silent, because what happened next was supposed to be impossible. The entire grand ballroom fell silent. The moment 6-year-old Marin leaped from her wheelchair, crystal glasses stopped clinking. A violinist lowered his bow in disbelief. Wealthy executives, celebrities, and politicians stared with wide eyes as the little girl, who had not taken a single step in over 3 years, suddenly ran across the polished marble floor with tears streaming down her cheeks. She wasn't running toward her billionaire mother. She wasn't running toward the world's best doctors standing nearby. She was running straight into the open arms of an ordinary single father, wearing faded jeans and an old navy blue t-shirt. The billionaire froze where she stood, unable to breathe because the impossible had just happened. And the men her daughter called out to carry the secret from a forgotten past that would change all of their lives forever. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, forgiveness, and second chances can truly change lives, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you love, leave a comment, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. We'd also love to know where are you watching from today. Your support helps us continue bringing heartwarming stories like this to the world. Alessandra Voss had built one of the largest technology empires in America. Before turning 40, every magazine admired her success. Yet none of them knew that every night she sat beside her daughter Marin's bed wishing money could buy miracles. 3 years earlier, a devastating accident had left Marin unable to walk. Specialists from every corner of the world promised hope, but each new treatment ended with another heartbreaking disappointment. Alessandra purchased the finest rehabilitation equipment, hired private therapists, and even built a medical wing inside her mansion. Nothing changed. Marin smiled less each month, while her mother slowly became a prisoner of guilt, believing that no amount of success could compensate for failing the person she loved most. That afternoon, Alessandra hosted a charity gala supporting children with spinal injuries. Cameras flashed as wealthy guests applauded generous donations, but Marin looked detached from the glamorous celebration. She quietly watched families laughing together, wondering what it felt like to be carefree again. Then from across the room, she noticed a little boy dropping his toy airplane. His father immediately picked it up, smiling warmly before kneeling to tie the child's untied shoe. Something about the gentle face captured Marin's attention. Without warning, she whispered a single word that nobody understood. Then she stood. At first, everyone thought it was an illusion. Her tiny hands released the wheelchair. Her legs trembled. Alessandra screamed, terrified she would fall. But Marin took one step, then another, until those uncertain movements became joyful. Running, tears filled every eye as she threw herself into the stranger's embrace. The men held her carefully as though protecting something precious, while Marin cried with a happiness nobody had seen in years. His name was Rowan Hale. He lived in a small rented apartment with his 8-year-old son, Theo. After losing his wife to cancer, Rowan abandoned a prestigious career that few people knew about, once celebrated for his extraordinary work helping children recover from severe trauma and neurological injuries during humanitarian missions overseas. He disappeared from public life after tragedy shattered his own heart. He no longer chased recognition. He simply worked as a community recreation instructor, believing ordinary acts of kindness mattered more than medals or titles. As Alessandra watched Rowan comforting her daughter with remarkable Calm, questions overwhelmed her. Marin insisted she had seen him before in dreams where someone always promised she would run again. Rowan himself seemed shaken, not because of the miracle, but because he recognized something deeper. During years spent helping injured children, he had learned that healing sometimes began long before muscles recovered. Fear, loneliness, and hopelessness could imprison a child just as powerfully as physical injuries. Doctors soon examined Marin again. They explained that while her condition remained medically complex, years of therapy had slowly strengthened her body. Beneath the surface, the emotional breakthrough that afternoon may have unlocked confidence she had buried for years. It wasn't magic. It was the extraordinary meeting of preparation, hope, and a moment powerful enough to awaken a child's belief that she was no longer trapped. Instead of offering expensive medical advice, Rowan simply spent time with Marin and Theo every weekend. They played games in local parks instead of private clinics. They laughed over homemade sandwiches instead of luxurious dinners. Slowly, Alessandra realized that, despite all her wealth, she had forgotten how healing simple love could be. Marin grew stronger each week, not because someone promised perfection, but because someone believed in her without expecting anything in return. Rowan's greatest secret was never military service or hidden riches. His secret past was that he had once been consumed by grief so completely that he nearly gave up helping anyone ever again. Meeting Marin reminded him that broken hearts can still rebuild other lives. And Alessandra discovered that true strength was never measured by the size of a company or a fortune, but by the courage to let others into your pain. Months later, the same ballroom hosted another charity event. This time, Marin walked proudly beside her mother without a wheelchair. Guests applauded louder than ever, not because of another billionaire donation, but because they witnessed living proof that compassion can succeed where pride often fails. Rowan stood quietly in the back, holding Thea's hand, smiling as father and son watched a family finally become whole in ways money alone could never accomplish. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Stories like this remind us that one act of kindness can change an entire lifetime. Before we end, please leave one special comment with the words, "Kindness still wins." We'd love to see how many people around the world still believe hope is stronger than despair. Sometimes the greatest miracles don't begin in hospitals or boardrooms. They begin when one wounded heart reaches another with nothing more than compassion. In a world that often celebrates power and wealth, it is kindness that quietly performs the impossible, reminding us that the strongest people are not those who never break, but those who choose to help others heal, even after their own hearts have been broken. Because in the end, the greatest miracle wasn't that a little girl learned to walk again. It was that 3 broken hearts found a family they never knew they needed.